Today we're going to be working on a Lexus 2019 RX 450H. We're going to be installing the VLine in here, so we'll be taking out the radio and the display. We'll show you how to do that. So the first step will be taking off this piece here. We're going to be using a pry tool for that. And if you get on this corner here and push out, and then push along the side here this direction, and there you can see all the clips. And then the two here. We'll put that to the side, and then we'll come over to this driver's side over here. The next step, we'll be taking off this one here. We're just going to get our pry tool in behind it and push towards the driver door. Here's what that one looks like. Alright, next we'll be taking off the silver ring that goes around here. There we go. It kind of does a Z a little bit. As you can see, there's clips all the way around it, so don't just pull on one corner. Make sure you work your way around it slowly. And from there, we'll need to take off this piece. It goes all the way along the bottom of the radio, and it's got the start button in it as well. You can just pull on the top, and then get your pry tool on the bottom corners. And then to get it fully out, you're going to have to unplug the power button. And that's going to be this connector here. When it's in place, it'll be inverted, but the plug will actually have the clip on this side over here closest to the steering wheel. So now that we've got that out, we can move on to taking the radio out. Alright, so we're going to be taking out a 10mm up here. It's about level with the tune scroll knob over here. And then we'll take the one out on the other side as well. Alright, so this is going to be the 10mm on the driver's side. It's very similar on the passenger side, just a little more at an angle and a little higher up. Alright, so we're going to take this one out over here now. Now that we've got those out, we can go ahead and remove the radio. Alright, so to pull the radio out, you can actually just grab on the bottom and pull. Then you might want to use your pry tool around up here if you need to, just to break any of these clips loose. After that, we can pull this out. You're going to have to unplug the clock first at the very top here. The clip's right on top. And then from there you can actually pull this all the way out. And we're just going to begin removing all this to give us more room to route all of our wires. And for this one here, you can try to grab it with your fingernail and pull it up, but if that doesn't work, you can also use a pry tool. And if you go in the bottom corner here, it'll push that pin in. And you can just lift it up. Alright, and that's how we get the radio out. Alright, so next we'll be removing the display. To get this out, you'll need your pry tool, and you can just pry underneath this on this side, once in the middle, once on the passenger side. And then you can see all the clips here. Make sure you don't pull straight up, but you do tilt it back and then pull up. From there, we're going to have two bolts up here we need to remove, but we'll also need to take the back off of the monitor here as well. I'll show you that. Alright, so the back here comes off at the very bottom and it slides up. So we're going to take our pry tool and go into this corner. Just pry up. And then we'll do the same right here. And it slides up. This trim here, you've got these two slots on either side. There's little actually keyholes for those to go into. And then of course we've got all the clips here that hold it in. From there, we're going to have one more 10mm back here we need to remove. So we'll go ahead and start that. So we'll take these two out here. And then we'll move to the back. And now we can pull this straight up. There's going to be a clip there, and then the clip in the back. And now we've got that removed. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do back here will be the GPS antenna. We're just going to stick that on this piece right back here, underneath, so there. There we go. And I kind of had to pull up on the dash a little bit, so it does help hold it down. And then we've got plenty of clearance up here where no metal will interfere with the GPS. And we're going to route this down with our GVMF video cable as well. And we'll go ahead and connect that here. That'll be this cable. So we'll connect the female to the factory male. Make sure that clicks into place fully. And then we can begin routing these down. like to go on this side over here because you can actually pull it straight through to where the radio goes. And then you can tuck it underneath all this trim. We'll do the same here. Alright, next we'll be connecting our MC Flex 789 cable. And that'll connect right here and this one as well. For this one, the seat, you push it all the way in and then push down the lever. You'll hear it click into place. And the next one will be right here. And from there, we're going to route all of our cables to the glove box, and we'll show you how to do that next. Alright, so to take out the glove box, the first thing we're going to do is pop this off. There we go. And then from there, you just pinch it on one side, pinch it on the other, and the glove box will come down. And then the only thing holding it in is these clips right here. Alright, now that we got that removed, we'll be taking out the cover right here. And we'll be putting a hole in this so that we can run our VLine wires through. So we'll show you that. Alright, so we're going to start running everything to the glove box here. First we're going to run them through this hole here, but then we'll run them out back here once we get them all fished through. Alright, now that we've got those through to here, we're going to run to the back side. There we go. So now we've got all these routed. And we'll continue cable managing real quick and then we'll come back. Alright, so we had to drill 2 holes in this case just so the glove box would close normally. We've done one in the air cabin filter. It's not so much a hole as it is just a notch on the side over here. So that way this can come on and off and all the clips will still go into place. And then the glove box here, we did one at the very top. So that way our wires wouldn't get bunched up behind here when it closes. And then the V-line we had to fit on the bottom right here. As you can see, when you push it in, put this back in place too, it all closes up normally. And we're going to cable manage some of this so it all stays in place and doesn't get bunched up behind the glove box here. But now we can move on to putting everything back in the vehicle to test. Alright, so first we're going to put our display back in. After that we're going to plug in the main power harness here and the video cable. Make sure if you have a white one, you do plug that back in there as well. And then we're going to set this into place. We're going to make sure that you get the front 2 bolts lined up first, and then push it back a little bit, and it should clip right into place. From there, we can go ahead and put our bolts and screws back in. And then lastly, we'll be doing the one on the back. And once those are in, we can put all of our trim back on. We're going to start with the back one here. Like I said earlier, make sure you line up these 2 keys on the side. There we go. And then the last piece will be at the bottom here. And that'll just clip in at the top at an angle. And then push it down. And now I've got the display back in, we'll move on to the radio. Alright, so we'll go ahead and put the radio back in. And we'll plug in everything in at the bottom first. Make sure you don't forget that side plug as well. And we're going to make sure we're not missing anything. Yeah, we're missing these. Alright, that looks like it's everything back here. The only thing left is the clock up top. So we're going to run all of our wiring back, or push it back, so that the radio goes into place, and we're going to make sure the clock harness stays on top. Get that back in. And then from there you just push. You want to push around all corners, make sure it's fully seated. And from there we'll be putting our 2 bolts back in. Alright, so we're going to put the screw back in on this side, and then we'll do the same on the passenger side. Alright, so the next step will be putting this piece in. You kind of have to fish it over here. You can also take the shifter off if you want to make it easier. It's not that much easier though. And once you get this plugged back in, just line up all the clips. sometimes the bottom doesn't go into place properly, so you might have to take it back out and put it back in a couple times just to get everything lined up. And now that that's back in, we can put in our silver trim here. And I like to start at the top with this one and then work my way down. And then when you get to this point, you kind of have to bend it up a little bit. Here we go. And lastly, we'll be putting in the two side pieces. And then we'll show you putting in the driver one. There we go. Now we've got everything back together. We're ready to test.